It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here. That's what you've earned here tonight.
Forget about the crowd. It's the size of the school. Their fancy uniforms. And remember what got you here. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the difference between winning and losing.
It's down to the wire with Errol Marks and Speedy Petey.
Oh, Petey! Oh, Petey!
On the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Down to the Wire. We are live every single Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time. Remember, you can call us at 631-965-4990, and you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app. If you go to Apple right now, all you have to do is go to the search key in your applications. You put in WWSRN, or you can go to Android right now, and you go to Worldwide Sports Radio Network, or search Worldwide Sports Radio Network in your applications. We have a great show lined up for you, and I know we had to push this interview up a little bit faster because this guy needed the time, and I'm happy to get him on. It doesn't really matter. We are now talking to Texas football punter recruit Isaac Pearson. What's going on, Isaac?
How you doing, guys?
We are good, my friend. How are you feeling right now? How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
Yeah, we're pretty well untouched here at the moment. We're very lucky in that fact. I'm back home in my hometown at the moment with my family, and we're still participating in normal life. Everyone's going to work. We're just keeping our social distancing intact. As you guys know, if you don't know who Isaac is, he is the punter of the Texas Longhorns football team and might not have a football season this year. We have no idea what's going on. What are your thoughts right now with the NCAA and the fact that there might not be college football season? Yeah, obviously it's disappointing. I'd really like to watch some of my mates over there that are playing college ball for their respective teams, but at the end of the day, whatever's going to get everyone, to go home to their families in the safest way possible, I think that's the most important part at this point in time.
So you grew up in Australia. You live there now. You were telling me it's 6:30, almost 6:30 in the morning over there. So Australia, not really known for football. I mean, it's a big rugby country. They're big with basketball. They're big with swimming, a lot of other sports like that. So how did you get attracted to football? Like, what made you have the desire to watch football and play football? Was it inherited from other sports, like the kicking skills, anything like that? How did you get into that? Yeah, so it's not really a traditional pathway over here at all. We play Australian rules football growing up, which is not quite rugby. It's we will move the ball by kicking it like a quarterback will pass their receivers. I was playing that for 14 years growing up as a kid, and then it got to a point where I wanted to see the world and study, and I felt like my sporting days were still ahead of me. I heard wind of this opportunity down with the Pro Kick Australia crew in Melbourne to go and train and play college football and get an education. So I thought that was a no-brainer and just an incredible opportunity. So I chased that chased that blindly, and here we are. We are talking to Texas football punter recruit Isaac Pearson. Now, Isaac, punting, I don't know what pushes somebody to punt a ball. A lot of people think it's probably the most boring position when it comes to football, but it is a very important aspect of what special teams is, and moving forward into the NFL, I think if you have a good punter, you have a very good chance of putting a team in position where they don't want to be. So what made you decide, obviously you played soccer, you played rugby over there in Australia, which is very, very popular over there in Australia. What made you decide to be a punter when I've seen a lot of rugby players come into the NFL as wide receivers, or cornerbacks? What made you play the punter position? Are you a better kicker? Are you just more athletically sound as a kicker? I don't. What made you want to be a punter? It's
bit left field, but over here in our traditional sport, we kick all the time. So instead of going out with our dads in the backyard and throwing a baseball to each other, we'll go out and kick a footy. So that's second nature to us. We're doing that as soon as we can, walk and talk pretty much. So yeah, I've been kicking a football for as long as I can remember, and to me, that's just the most fun thing that I can do. In our sport back here, we're used to running, 8 to 10 miles a game and tackling everyone without any pads, and it's full contact. So it's not a question of not being athletic enough. I think that it's just the most fun thing that I could possibly do with my time. Everyone else thinks it's boring, but it's an obsession for me.
In terms of football exposure in Australia, but whether it's the college level or the NFL level, what was the methods that you had in order to watch football? Did you have a favorite team that was an American team, or was it strictly Australian rules football that got you into that? And then also, how did that lead you to want to play American college football? And again, you ended up with a big team, a big name team in Texas, a Power 5 conference. How did you get involved with all that, knowing those kinds of restrictions?
Yeah, it's not really broadcast over here too often. So we'll get the top Sunday Arvo game on our Monday morning at like 6 a.m. So before work, or if I was finishing my night shift, I'd get wind of the score and hopefully be able to watch it. And then, I've found out that there was a few Aussies over there punting in the NFL at the time. Did my research into where they came from, and then got in touch with the Pro Kick Academy in Melbourne. And then it was a matter of time for some of my friends that I was training with were playing at their own colleges, like University of Oregon, Texas A&M, Florida Gators. The list goes on. Wherever we've placed guys, it's a pretty tight knit group. So, I've just been keeping in touch with those guys and following their progress along the way. And now, back when I was first falling in love with the sport, I did sort of latched on to the University of Texas, and I started watching all their games on an early Sunday morning, and it's a bit of a dream come true to be a Texas Longhorns commit.
Now, the punting position, and the Jets drafted a punter in the 7th round, one of the best punters we've seen in college football in a very, very long time. When you look at the position that you play and the opportunities that you have over there in Texas in the future, do you see yourself as a future NFL player? Do you think that you have the talents to get yourself to the NFL?
Yeah, I think that 90% of the guys have got a ball, a punt big enough to play in the NFL. It's whether they're consistent enough. So I've got to work at my consistency and just fine-tune my craft over the next 4.5 years at Texas. And, if I do things correctly and fulfill my role for the team in line with my coach's views, then, things like accolades and, going to the pros, that sort of stuff should take care of itself. It's not really a focus at this point in time. I just want to do my best for the Longhorns.
So you like full contact sports. You like rugby. Australia is known for their rugby. I love rugby too. I played a little rugby, whatever you want to call it, but rugby. I almost called it rugby, but rugby when I was in college. So I played recreational rugby. Mm-hmm. It's very, it's full contact. It's just as dangerous playing rugby as it is in the NFL and playing college football. When you look at the speed of the game, the size of some of these players in college football and the NFL, are you surprised that some of these guys at 356 pounds could run a 40 in about 4.7, 4.6? Or are you not surprised because you get the opportunity to watch this every single day with some of these rugby players?
Yeah, quite honestly, it's still so surprising to see these guys, at such incredible builds, and they're moving so fast and they've got so much power. It's not the athlete that we're used to seeing over here in Australia, where typically our sports are a lot more endurance based. There's not a lot of explosiveness. These guys are man mountains and moving that quickly. It's impressive to behold. I'm really lucky that I'm in a position that hopefully won't get anywhere near those guys for a long while.
Both with Australian rules football, both with concepts and with rules, what are some of the big differences between that and college football or just American football in general that you've studied?
Yeah, it's really a sport of its own. So we
haven't got it's 18 people each team, so there's 36 people on the field at any time, and the ball will just compared to aerial ping pong, they call it over here. So the ball will fly any which direction. There's no offsides. There's no fumbles or anything. It's just live play pretty much the entire time. So you've got to move it by kicking the ball or punching the ball to your teammate to move it up the field and kick it through the two uprights in the middle. They are worth 6 points, and if you miss and kick it through an upright either side of those two, it's worth 1 point. So it's typically very high scoring. A normal game will be 100 points to 80 points sort of thing. That's a fairly common thing. These guys, like I said, are running 8 to 10 miles a game, sometimes more, and tackling anywhere from 5 to 10 times, like one-on-one tackles. So it's really quite a taxing game, but it's such excitement the whole way through that it's non-stop action for 2 hours.
What is it like getting a phone call from the Texas Longhorns saying that they want you to come and play football with them and be a part of their NCAA football team? What was it like getting that phone call and asking you to come down and check out the school?
Yeah, quite honestly, I was in tears. So my coach, I was in the gym, and my coach brought over the phone, and that the contact across the top was Tom Herman, and I had to sort of pinch myself. And when he spoke the words like, "We'd like to offer you a scholarship to come and play football at Austin," I was in tears. It was quarter past 6 in the morning, and it was pitch black outside, and I was jumping for joy in the car park of the local gym. It was something I'll never forget. I was lucky to have some of my close mates around me in the gym, and it was really quite emotional. I was down in Melbourne at the time, so I called up my mum and dad back in my hometown at 6 in the morning on a Saturday and told them the great news. And it's been a life-changing experience. I'm just incredibly lucky to be a Longhorn, that's for sure.
The Texas football culture is something in America that's very unique in terms of they really go all out for even high school football or even youth football. They really are passionate about the game. So what are you most looking forward to about the state of Texas just as a whole with their culture, very unique culture, and the Texas football culture, both at the school and just all around the communities?
I'm kind of just looking forward to embracing everything. I haven't got too many preconceived ideas about the place. I'm hoping that the country music scene is what I'm imagining, because I'm sort of falling in love with that.
You like country music? Come on, Isaac. Yeah. Come on, Isaac. You're from Australia. You like country music?
Yeah, I went to Nashville and fell in love with it there. So,
you fell in love with the women.
Yeah, I'm just hoping.
You fell in love with the women. You didn't fall in love with the music.
I don't know. Yeah, you got me there. It's just something I can't wait to be a part of. Massive crowds. They're all so passionate. Obviously, that comes with pressure, but I'm just looking forward to being in that environment. Pressure creates diamonds, and I can't think of a better place to play football than in the warmth in front of 100,000 people in DKR. It's just, second to none.
We are talking to Texas football punter recruit Isaac Pearson. Now, Isaac, and we have a lot of fun with different athletes that come on our show. We do ask them silly questions, and I know that you're sitting in your car, you're relaxing. I don't know if you're at the car wash right now. I don't know undertone of that, but I'm actually happy that you come on our show. We've interviewed a couple of punters over the last couple of months, so I read a little bit about you and who you are and the fact that you're from Australia. And I actually was a surfer myself. I actually like to surf. I just don't like sharks. And over there in Australia, they're covered with great white sharks. Don't they have a place called the Black Lagoon over there in Australia?
Yeah, I haven't been there yet. There's a place in WA, Shark Park, as well. We're pretty fortunate to be living on the water. Pretty much everyone in the whole country lives within 50 kilometres or, 30 miles of the beach. So, right. We're on the water, and, in the lake out the front of our place, there's 4 different species of shark that live there. So, in the summertime, it can get pretty hairy, but, if you if you don't fall in, you're fine, sort of.
So what you do is you stay away from the water. You just don't want to fall into the water.
Yeah, no. I mean, we're still out fishing and paddleboarding and swimming in the lake.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they're always there, but it's. I mean, there are places where they're more prevalent, but then they're not too much of a concern at this point. No, we're all pretty used to them. There's shark alarms at every beach. You know. We're pretty tough down here as well. So.
Well, you're probably a lot tougher than me, because after I was in the water with a shark, I never went back into the water as far as surfing is concerned. I sold my board, and I will never go in the water off the coast more than 300 yards. So there you go. So I'm staying far, far away from sharks, especially that they're coveted over here in Long Island now. Great whites, 5 great white sharks have been spotted off the coast here in Long Island. So I'm staying far, far away from the water. Anyways, I do want to have
a plan.
Yeah, that's a definite plan. Absolutely. And no paddle boarding for me either. Anyways, I want to have some fun with you. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to ask you some silly questions, and all we want is for you to be honest with the question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. First question: boxers or briefs, and why?
Briefs, because when I run, there's too much going on, and it's not a good look for anyone. Briefs, you just feel much more sound. Yeah,
I would say that too.
It's safer.
Yes, a lot safer, especially when you shake and you rattle and you roll. So, especially as a punter, man.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of leg swing going on there. It's best to just have everything in the same spot.
Favorite snack to eat before a game?
Ooh, personally, I love jelly beans. Yeah, I don't know. We have we call them killer pythons over here. They're these big sort of lollies in the shape of a snake. They're good to have before a game. And just a Gatorade. Yeah, I love Gatorade. That's about it.
I'm a big jelly bean enthusiast, so I have the Jelly Belly collection box. I collect them all and sort the flavors.
Jelly Belly?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They have all 50 different flavors or whatever they have.
What's your favorite flavor? What's your favorite flavor of your jelly beans?
I don't know what the flavor is. It's blue and pink. I don't know what the actual flavors are. They're just
blueberry.
Tutti Frutti, I think.
Tutti Frutti, he knows them.
I do. Look at that. It's one of my weird, crazy things. Yes, I do.
Isaac, you got a new buddy, man. You guys could share jelly bean thoughts. So,
well, we'll do international shipment of jelly beans.
There you go. We are talking to Texas football punter recruit Isaac Pearson. Third question: blondes or brunettes?
Yeah, tough one.
I know already. You know what you're going to say. You ready? I'm gonna predict you're going to say blondes.
No. Look, there's a lot of blondes in Australia. So I don't know if I think brunettes are a rare find here. So yeah, I like brunettes.
So ladies, if you want to talk to Isaac, you got to be a brunette and you have to have blue eyes. Okay, so that's the way to talk to Isaac. All right, so. Here's a question. If you needed a weapon to smack somebody around with, okay, and you have 3 picks, okay, a fly swatter, a baseball bat, or a hammer, okay, and you can't hurt somebody. You gotta figure out a way to dish out the pain, but not try to hurt them too completely. And this guy right over here needs a little bit of a beating, okay?
No, if you're gonna threaten me, you can poison me with a jelly bean.
Poison you with a jelly bean? That's what Isaac would do. I don't know if that's what
see, we need creative manners. If you're going to threaten me, we need creative manners to do it.
Oh, yeah? So what would be a good creative manner for Isaac to do to you?
What I explained, poison me with a jelly bean.
That's not creative. There's nothing creative about that.
Did any of our guests bring up a jelly bean?
What, are you going to choke on it?
I said poison, not choke. I would say choke if I
see what I deal with, Isaac. You see what I deal with? I mean, seriously.
Creativity for somebody who actually is enthusiast of jelly beans. No, he's the one that just wants to have all the guests have a purge against me.
Well, Isaac, what we're doing is we're doing a TikTok competition with some of the recruits that we've had on the show. We've interviewed possibly top 50 of the 100 best recruits, college recruits that are going into college this year playing Division I football. And I would love to get you guys involved with this TikTok. You will win You will win an award after it. We're going to do like a dance-off. We're going to pick 3 songs, or you guys are going to pick 3 songs, and you're going to dance off a particular, person. We might put you against another punter, another kicker. We're gonna find somebody that will match off with you in the first round, and if you pass, slowly but surely we'll get you. We'll see who gets to the finals, and you'll have the opportunity to win maybe a year's worth of supply of jelly beans.
We have a whole punters bracket. We got him and Connor Allen, the Wisconsin punter.
Yes, so we have Connor Allen.
We have the punter set of the brackets.
That's right. So we would love to get you involved if you're interested. Are you a dancer?
Oof. Honestly, I don't think I had a proper dance since Nashville, so I might have to pass up on that one.
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry.
Have a heart. I mean, we'll have fans vote. I mean, you'll build a huge fan base through this. I guarantee you. We'll have some fun with it, and we'll even pick some country music because you love your country. Maybe you'll do some clogging or something.
It'd be more likely to turn off any fan base that I've
Oh,
got,
stop,
so
Isaac. There are a lot worse dancers than you are, man. I'm sure of it.
And if you dance to country music, Texas will appreciate you anyway.
Exactly, absolutely. Especially those Tennessee beautiful women. I guarantee you, you can dance, you can hobble around. If you're dancing, you're moving, they're gonna love you. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I was in Tennessee a couple of years ago for the NFL draft. It is beautiful over there. It is beautiful over there.
It is gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to definitely check out. Isaac, before we let you go, why don't you tell the fans how they can find you on social media?
Crikey, I can't think of my Twitter handle. I think it's Isaac_Pearson23. And my Instagram is just Isaac_Pearson. I don't post a whole lot of useful stuff. It's mostly just useless information. Talk a lot about, football and punting. So if you love that, get around me. But yeah, it's
Cronky. How do you pronounce that? Cronky? How you got to pronounce that? Is it cranky or cronky? Cronky.
Cronk? What?
I don't know. You said cranky.
I said get around me.
No. You used a word. There's an Australian word that you used, cronky or cranky. Or what's the word?
Oh, crikey.
Crikey. What does that mean?
Crikey.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it means, actually. Steve Irwin used to say it all the time. It's part of the lingo here. Like, when you're amazed, you're like, oh, crikey. Like,
I love it, man. You're going to have to teach me. You're going to have to teach
for
me.
any occasion.
I love Australian accents, so you can use all the words you want, even if you don't understand them. So there you go.
That's awesome. Good to know. Thank you.
I would love to get you on the show again, especially when the football season starts. If there is going to be a football season, I mean, we're hearing that the Big Ten, there's a petition coming out that the Big Ten wants to bring back. Justin Fields has come out and said that he wants a season, that the players should choose to have a season, not the divisions and the lingo of the schools. They think that the players should decide if there should be a season or not. So do you agree with Justin?
Yeah, I think I do. It's a bit of a silly one. They can't have a season, but classes are going back on campus. It's the situation in the States is something I'm not across. It's just, obviously I'd like to see football happen, but if that can't happen safely, then there's really no point risking it. I'd rather everything just get squared away safely and then play football when the time's appropriate. But yeah, I mean, if there's a way to do it safely, I'm all for it.
Oh, well, I can't wait until the season, if there is a football season. Nothing is better than college football. I don't care what NFL players say. Nothing is better than the speed and the fun to watch. You get to watch some of these kids develop and really become NFL players. I'm looking forward to watching you punt the ball and hopefully in the near future play in the NFL. But we would love to get you back on if the season starts. If you're willing to come back on, we would love to get you on.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Isaac, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Hook 'em.
Absolutely. As you guys know, we were just talking to Texas football punter recruit Isaac Pearson. Nice kid. Really, really nice kid. I know he was in a rush. He had another meeting, but kid's great. He really is. And he's I believe the confidence level and his accent is awesome. I mean, how could you beat that accent? I mean, Australian accent, Nothing is better than an Australian accent or English accent. I love those accents. But when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, there was something very interesting that happened to me on Sunday, and it wasn't that it happened to me. It happened to one of our radio shows, Weapons Hot. And there was a particular person that came on their show and said some derogatory things about his football team, and I've got a lot to say about that when we come back on Down to the Wire.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP. We help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You're listening to Down to the Wire on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
As you guys know, this is Down to the Wire. We are live every single Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time. You can call us at 631-965-4990. And remember, download our app, ladies and gentlemen, by going to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well. I want to give a shout out to Isaac Pearson for joining us. Great interview. Great kid. Looking forward to seeing a season if there's going to be a season. But I was watching one of our shows yesterday, and I was absolutely appalled by some of the garbage I was listening to on Weapons Hot. And it wasn't because of CJ and Kevin. It was because of this particular guy named John. And I've got a couple of clips for all the fans to listen to because I got something to say to this kid.
I have no ill will towards the New York Jets. I want them to give me something positive to go on. And the things that I'm looking at go beyond star players than just Jamal Adams. See, now this isn't just his comments here now. And right. I'm not even close to the team. And I said everything that Jamal Adams said a week before he said them, because I'm getting bad vibes from the coaching staff, from the front office, from them not building up this defense, for them not building up this offense. They got a franchise quarterback that they don't put players around. Okay. And I'm wondering, what the hell are they doing? And then it gets deeper, though, than just Jamal Adams. It gets to C.J. Mosley. Now, here's another rumor that's going around. Last year, was he really hurt? Now he opts out. Maybe he doesn't want anything to do with this train wreck. Then I look at Le'Veon Bell. Adam Gase said that he misused Le'Veon Bell through the first half of last season. But guess what? He misused him through the entire season and didn't even want him for the money that they paid him. And that's on record. I'm looking at all these star players leaving, and I'm looking at Adam Gase and his crazy eyes. I'm looking at the ownership, Christopher Johnson, Joe Douglas in the front office. I'm looking at them and allowing a coach like this to take the helm here. We were just talking about free agents wanting to come to the Jets and being an enticing place to come. The things that Jamal Adams said when he left, I don't think that it can just go untouched. Adam Gase, letting other coaches handle player personnel issues. If a player's got a problem, he should feel like he should be able to go to his head coach, right? C.J. Mosley, the injury last year, was he really hurt? This year he opts out. Did he really want to part of his training?
All right. First of all, and I need some of that music, okay? Because this guy is a complete clown, okay? And I just lower the music a little bit, Speedy. You don't have to put it all the way up so that nobody can hear what I have to say here. First of all, for the fact that he thinks that C.J. Mosley was not hurt last year is a complete, utter joke, okay? C.J. Mosley got hurt in the first game of the season. He hurt his hamstring or his quad, and he was out a significant amount of time. Now, he had one of the best games of the season for any defensive player. A matter of fact, he was Defensive Player of the Week when he got hurt. Now, he came back in the middle of the season, coming back from injury, and he still wasn't 100% healthy. Now, you're going to come out and say that he was not hurt, that it was a train wreck, and that's why he didn't want to play for the team, and that's why he decided to opt out of this year's season because of COVID-19. How about this? And I don't know this guy, and he calls himself the Gift. How about we call him the GIF? Because it's a complete joke. There should be a cartoon of this guy, a friggin' circus of this guy. He takes shots at people, takes shots of his own team. Now shut the music off because I'm so disgusted from this. I can't sit here and listen to a bunch of Jet fans. And how about this? Football fans that think they know what they're talking about. First of all, do you work for the Jets organization? John, if you're listening, you can call the show right now, 631-965-4990. And I know you don't have the balls to call this show, because if you did, I tell you, you're not going to call me names like you were calling Kevin. And I'm surprised Kevin didn't jump right through the screen and rip your damn head off.
You called them names?
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to say it on our digital platform.
Who was this guy?
I don't know. He calls himself the Gift. The Gift. The gift that keeps on giving, let me tell you. The fact that Adam Gase didn't want Le'Veon Bell has nothing to do with the way Le'Veon Bell played last year, okay? Le'Veon Bell had enough touches. They didn't have an offensive line. And so you're going to blame Adam Gase because Mike McCagnon didn't build an offensive line when Mike McCagnon decided to sign Le'Veon Bell. So that is because of the New York Jets organization and Adam Gase. Now, Adam Gase is not the greatest coach. I will tell you that right now. He is one of the worst coaches we have seen in New York in New York Jets history. Really, New York Jets history, because we haven't seen enough of him. Now, we don't know what he is. We don't know if he's another Rich Kotite. We don't know if he's an Eric Mangini. He's a 2-year and done type of coach, a 3-year type of done coach. We don't know what he is. But the fact that you're taking shots at a guy that, let's be honest, last year had Trevor Siemian starting in one game because Sam Darnold had mono, okay? And Sam Darnold was out for 4 to 5 games last year. If you look at the Jets' defense, you're taking shots at the Jets, that the Jets don't have any defense, and that Jamal Adams was the savior of the New York Jets' defense last year. Jamal Adams wasn't even the best defensive player on the team the last 10 games of the season. He wasn't.
Yeah, and again, it's still a good team defense. They lack the pass rush. We know that. But again, they have Quinnen Williams. Well, they had C.J. Mosley, but now obviously he's out. They still have Marcus May when he's healthy. They have enough talent. And remember, that secondary got bolstered up a lot. So Jamal Adams was saving a lot of bad corners last year, whereas in terms of this year, they might not need that kind of thing. And again,
how was he saving them? The games that he had
bad corners last year.
How did he save them? First of all, Marcus May was a better defensive player in the second half of the season than Jamal Adams was. If you look at Jamal Adams' interception ratio, look at the teams that he intercepted the ball against. 2 of them was against the Giants, intercepting the ball and ripping the ball out of the hands of Danny Dimes and running in for a touchdown. To me, wasn't a secluded or even top-of-the-line interception because he practically fumbled and ripped the ball out of his hands.
Now, here's the other thing to look at, too, though. You have to keep in mind, because of the lack of pass rush, because Quinnen Williams was hurt, C.J. Mosley was obviously out the whole year.
Avery Williamson,
I was just going to say that. They had to use him more as a box safety in that time, though, too, where if they're using him more as a box safety, the corners get more exposed.
Do you really think that Jamal Adams, because if Jamal Adams was on the team or wasn't on the team last year, that the Jets would be any better than that they would have been? The Jets were going to be a bad team last year. They were not ready to win. They're not ready to win this year. Let's be honest. They're not. They're 2-3 players away from being a contender. Are they a borderline playoff team? We will have to see what this offensive line can do protecting Sam Darnold. All in all, we don't know what the Jets are. We don't. And the fact that we have a guy who praises Tom Brady. This is a Jet fan. He was on a Jets show, Weapons Hot, okay, attacking the Jets organization. He attacked Adam Gase. He attacked Joe Douglas. He attacked Woody Johnson, Chris Johnson, the Jets team, Greg Williams, Adam Gase. Who else did he attack? He attacked everybody, including CJ and Kevin. He attacked every single person, all the Jet fans, and even the Jet fans that would sit there and listen to the garbage that he was saying. And by the way, it was complete, utter garbage.
You would have never known he was a Jets fan.
Know what? He's a Jet fan. He praises Tom Brady. Why do you think it says, I'm Tom Brady's boy toy? Because that's the truth. That is the truth. I hate the guys that call themselves fans and they go on a radio show, going out there and talking about his team and talking about his team and said nothing good about his team. Nothing. There was nothing good that came out of his mouth. And nothing naturally. First of all, Denzel Mims pulled his hamstring, so it's Denzel Mims' fault that is in it. And the reason why Denzel Mims is not a first-round draft pick. That's pretty much what he said. He said Denzel Mims is a guy that's going to be a bust, and that his hamstring, the reason why he hurt his hamstring is because he doesn't want to play for the Jets, and he's probably not going to make the team, or he's not going to play this year.
What was even more ridiculous is, you heard it, I don't know if you heard this later, they were arguing that Tyler Johnson, the receiver from Minnesota, was a 5th-round pick. Nice player, but not near what Denzel Mims is. He thinks he's going to be a better player than Denzel Mims by far. Tyler Johnson.
How about you, Mark? Because you're sitting there and you're a Jet fan. I know you didn't listen to it yesterday, but I'm pretty damn disgusted about it. CJ told me, what are you going to do about it? Well, I'm sitting right over here, and I'm telling you right now, if this guy has the balls, the gift, has the balls to call this show, please call the show, 631-965-4990. I would love for you to call the show, because if you call me the names that you call Kevin, you see this pen right here? I'll shove it and insert it where the sun doesn't shine. But what did you, I don't know if you heard that clip, because I got a couple more clips that I think you should listen to. What did you think about the whole C.J. Mosley thing that he said?
Well, I mean, C.J. Mosley was obviously hurt last year, and when he did play, the 3 quarters that he played, he made a huge difference and almost carried them to a victory by himself. That's the hardest thing about him not playing now. I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody being dissatisfied with the team, but when you start, if you're starting to attack the people who are having you on, if you're starting to insult the people that, had you as a guest, that is probably the most disrespectful thing you could do. I know CJ, I know Kevin, I know Dan.
It's insulting.
Yeah.
He insulted them. And what really bothers me about the whole big picture.
They're great guys. CJ and Kevin.
It has nothing to do with being great. It has something to do with what you're talking about. Give me another clip. Put on another clip because it's just a joke, an absolute joke. Come on, Speedy, let's go.
Greg Williams deserves a lot more credit that he's given. And here's the kicker. The Jets already have the hardest part figured out. You guys got your franchise quarterback. Sam Darnold is a legit franchise quarterback. You don't even need a great offensive line for him to be successful. But the best they can do is Denzel Mims.
But you don't need an offensive line.
Excited about that?
Hold on. Pause that, Speedy. You don't need an offensive line, a good offensive line, for a quarterback to be good. Really? Now, I don't know what football you watch, but offensive line is probably the most important decorated part of playing football as far as a quarterback is concerned. And Sam Darnold hasn't had an offensive line since he's come into the league. He's been hit more. He's hit, last year he was hit third most in the NFL. The year before he was hit second most in the NFL. And he missed 4 games his first year and 5 games his second year for mono. So let me ask you this question, Mark. Is the offensive line an important thing to have for a quarterback?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? How about for a running back? Do you think it helps for a good running back that can run up the seams?
Just a little bit.
Just a little
unless
bit.
You're Barry Sanders.
So the gift that he calls himself, or the gift that keeps on giving.
I think that's the biggest problem that I have with him.
Well, I don't know who gave him the name the gift, because I call him the GIF, because I would take that face or take this clown outfit and use it as a GIF, because the guy is a complete joke. He's a complete joke. I can't sit here and listen to a Jet fan to take shots at C.J. Mosley. You don't know C.J. Mosley. You take shots that you don't need an offensive line for a quarterback a quarterback to be good.
I don't get that at all.
Come on, Speedy. Give me another clip. Come on, give me another clip.
Here's another one on Mosley.
C.J. Mosley didn't play last season.
Because he didn't want to play for your franchise.
What?
He had a groin injury.
He didn't want to play?
He faked it.
He faked it.
He faked it. Mosley was the one that quitted on the Jets last year.
He quitted?
He was the one that opted out this year, and you guys blame me. Like, C.J. Mosley was the one that did this, and like you're telling me that I'm the one that's wrong?
He quitted, Errol.
C.J. Mosley quit.
No, he didn't.
He quitted. Le'Veon Bell quitted. Here's the person that quitted that you were sticking up for the whole night. Jamal Adams. That's the guy that quitted on the Jets. He quit on the Jets 2 years ago. No, quitted. Because you know what? It's been 2 years. He quitted on the Jets for 2 years. And this is a guy that's been pushing to go to the Cowboys for the last 2 seasons. And then all of a sudden, in the offseason, who he loved, Adam Gase, absolutely adored Adam Gase. All of a sudden, this offseason, takes shots at the Adam Gase signing, thinking that Adam Gase isn't the guy that's going to lead this team. Joe Douglas is a joke, even though Joe Douglas had one of the best drafts this year. He was, I think, 5th or 4th ranking on a lot of polls that the way he drafted. He took shots at Greg Williams when the Jets defense in the second half of the season was one of the top 10 defenses in the league, when they had all secondary players, all backup players playing at their positions. No Avery Williamson, no C.J. Mosley. What the hell is this guy talking about? What is he talking? He is a complete clown. A clown. Why would anybody watch this guy's YouTube? Why would anybody watch it? And I'm telling you right now, John, you can call this show right now. I would love for you to call this show, because I would love to get you in the studio, because you know what I'd be throwing? I'd be throwing darts at you, because you have no idea what you're talking about. The New York Jets organization is not a joke anymore. They're trying to rebuild. Now, I don't know about the Johnson family. I don't know if Woody Johnson did what everybody claims he did with the racist remarks and the sexist remarks. We don't know if that's true. It still hasn't come out to be true. But you know what is really, really funny? The whole time for that whole show, Weapons Hot, all you kept doing was taking shots at the Jets, and you were praising Jamal Adams. The same Jamal Adams that was demanding a trade, and then said, after he was traded, that he cried for happiness when the Seattle Seahawks traded for him. He cried for happiness, and then wrote a letter to the New York Jets fans and the organization that he'll always be a Jet, and he loved the organization. He loved what the Jet fans did for him. Meanwhile, you turn your back on the Jet fan, you damn piece of crap. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm not going to say I was about to curse on the show, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I'll tell you this, John, you like to curse, you like to say what you like to say, and you like to speak what you speak. Well, how about this? Why don't you know what you're talking about? First of all, you need an offensive line to survive as a quarterback in the NFL. That's a fact. C.J. Mosley absolutely was hurt last year. He didn't decide to sit out because he hates the organization. He just got $86 million, you dumb idiot. Every single thing that kid said was a crock of you-know-what. A joke. He was a joke. He is a clown. A clown. And I can't sit here and listen to sports radio listening to clowns on the radio. And I listen to a lot of clowns. Let me tell you, there are a lot of clowns. But that guy, the gift, whatever he calls himself, and by the way, I'm reading, someone get him on the show. I feel like I'm listening to myself or whatever. Kevin, by the way, shout out to Kevin. Shout out to CJ. CJ, he wanted to bring in a good guest. I guess CJ thought that he was going to give them good opinions about the New York Jets organization. But instead, he threw the Jets under the bus. And this is a guy, I don't know if he's trying to gain fans because, what does he have, 19 subscribers to his YouTube or whatever he's got? Nobody's going to listen to that garbage. Nobody. I wouldn't listen to that garbage. And I wouldn't even waste my time. And if he has the nerve to take shots at any one of our shows or take shots at any guys on our shows, well, then have the nerve to know what you're talking about before you speak. You don't know what you're talking about. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. What are you, on drugs? I know you think he is. Absolutely. But in my eyes, he's not.
But at least that's semi-reasonable, not like the other things he was saying. Jeez.
Well, he's a Tom Brady lover. Of course he'd think that. I mean, listen, I don't know him personally. I don't know him. Maybe his mom dropped him on his head. I don't know. To say that he's a Jet fan is a joke. Maybe he's a Giant fan. Maybe he's a Buffalo Bills fan. I don't know, because he wasn't a Jet fan yesterday. You don't call a radio show. You don't get on as a guest on a radio show and pretty much throw the two hosts under the bus.
That's the worst. That's the absolute worst.
Is that all you're going to say? That's the absolute worst?
It wouldn't be. Well, I know CJ, I know Kevin. For them to have him on, and it's one thing to come on and try to be a tough guy and try to say things to, draw attention to yourself, I guess, which is a desperate plea for getting followers. But if you don't have I didn't hear any numbers come out of his mouth. I didn't hear any reason come out of his mouth. I just heard opinion based on arrogance and stupidity.
No, arrogance is the word.
Right.
Stupidity, the guy's a dope. I mean, maybe, I'm serious, I think that his mom dropped him on his head. Because anybody that calls himself the gift and he says he has a Jets show or whatever, a sports show, and people want to listen to that, saying that C.J. Mosley didn't want to play for the Jets, that's why he faked his injury. By the way, I'm going to get Eric Coleman on the show on Saturday, because I have a show on 103.9 with Eric Coleman, and I'm going to bring that up to him. I would love to hear what Eric Coleman has to say, because he knows C.J. Mosley. He's a good friend of C.J. Mosley. I would love to hear what he's going to say about what the gift says, because to me, it's clown. It's clown work. It's absolute. It's a joke. It's a circus.
But didn't you see they were 6-2 in the second half of the season? Had the best record in the AFC East. Buffalo and New England were both 4-4. So, Miami too had a better season than people thought. So it's not like the Jets were playing nobodies.
The second half of the season, too, combined with what they had in the beginning, they had the second-best run defense in the league as well, with not a lot in the front seven. That's
and their whole secondary was decimated. Their offensive line never was good. I mean, Darnold was pretty much running for his life, so he got what he wants. I mean, they don't really have much of an offensive line. But if he can't see what Douglas has done, if he can't see the patience he's using, which the other GMs did not do, which the whole Jet organization has pretty much failed at, and this guy's come in and he's taken pretty much control. And he said, this is the way we're going to build this team. It might take a little bit longer, but we're going to do it the way I know how to do it, which has won him in the places where he's been at. So we have a guy that knows how to win, has a proven track record, and that's what, like, a level of comfort Jet fans don't really have.
But that's not even my argument here. Why would somebody come out on another radio show? It's not his radio show, and he's there to give the Jet fans another outlook to where their team is going. And all he said was negative things.
There was nothing. Feel that way,
there was no. It doesn't matter what Jet fans think, Mark. You're a Jet fan. I'm a Jet fan. He's a Giant fan. I am an honest Jet fan. I have always been an honest Jet fan on our radio shows. And I think the Jets are a Super Bowl contender? They're not. But they're not as bad as he made them out to be. He's telling me that the Jets have nobody. Jamal Adams was the only defensive player they had. C.J. Mosley, Pro Bowl player. Avery Williamson was a borderline Pro Bowl player before he got hurt the year before. I mean, go look at the players that they brought into the team so far. Quentin Williams was double teamed more than any defensive lineman in football last year. Okay, so all the
He's
different
only in his
things.
second year, too.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
And I'm sure he's the same guy who was raving about him at the draft time.
Le'Veon Bell, he praises Le'Veon Bell. Meanwhile, the Jets didn't even have an offensive line. But he claims that you don't need an offensive line for a quarterback to be good. What are you, nuts? What are you, on drugs?
The perfect example of that, if you want to say they don't need offensive line, they just need the skill players. Go watch the Cleveland Browns last year. All the skill players in the world, nothing offensive line.
Well, I know everybody keeps asking me to play Eric Coleman. I will play the clip. I haven't really cut out Eric Coleman's clip. When we have the show on Saturday, I will make sure I cut the clip out for Monday for everybody to hear what Eric Coleman has to say about the gift. But what I do know about this kid is that the kid should never be on another radio show again, not on any of our radio shows again. And if he does come on a radio show, maybe CJ should bring him on, or maybe you should just call this show and have the balls to call the show, because I'm not going to sit back and listen to the garbage that comes out of this guy's
You
mouth.
actually texted me and said, I can't believe this guy's saying this stuff on the radio.
Who?
You did.
Yeah, well, I did. I texted you. Yeah. When I listen to somebody, if you know what you're talking about, I will respect you. When you come out and say outlandish things on somebody else's radio show and say things, but give me some other clips. Give me another one.
All the ones I had.
That's it? That was all the other one that I told you to hang up?
I had 4 clips. Yeah.
How about the other one that I told you to just hang up on?
Oh, that was the free agents one?
Give me the one.
We were just talking about free agents.
Move forward. Move forward a little
Jets,
bit.
Did he really want a part of this train wreck? I also question
Move forward again.
Johnson,
I think
the
that's where
owner,
we stopped.
CEO,
Okay.
Joe Douglas, the GM, for bringing talent into the Jets and making it possible for other free agents to want to come here. I just look at all the star talent that's left the Jets. C.J. Mosley doesn't want nothing to do with this.
Come on.
Jamal Adams gone. Demario Davis wasn't that long that he was
Demario
here.
Davis was a long time ago.
Williams, they wasted picks on too because they thought that they were going to be Aaron Donald.
Quinn Williams, they
were
wasted a pick?
completely wrong about that. So now that I've laid that out, why should any free agent want to come to the New York Jets?
How about you go to a tailgate and have all the Jet fans lay you out? Because you can lay anything out, you can lay anything down. Every single thing that you said has no consistency on what you were saying. Nothing. Quentin Williams is a bust because they thought he was another Aaron Donald. Quentin Williams was double and triple teamed last year more than any player. And then he's going to say, well, he's not Aaron Donald. Nobody said he was Aaron Donald. Nobody said he was Aaron Donald. But he's been in the league for a year.
But he's not Dwayne Robertson. You know, I think that's what he's trying to compare
It's a
him to.
joke. It's an absolute joke. He's a joke. Why would you go on a show and attack? And by the way, shout out to all the Jet fans that actually sat there and listened to that garbage. Because I sat there and me, Brittany, we were sitting there, we were listening to the whole thing. I couldn't stop laughing because every single thing. And then Kevin, I give Kevin a lot of credit because he sat there, he was very calm about it. But the things that he was taking shots at Kevin, and before he got thrown off by CJ, what he said, he attacked Kevin.
What did he say? What did he say to Kevin?
He called him a nasty word.
Oh, my God.
He called him a nasty word. Okay, I'm not going to say it on our show.
All right.
Because to me, it's a joke.
As a guest, he came on. He said that to
Yeah, he took a shot at Kevin.
Unbelievable.
He took a shot at Kevin. And you want to know something? To me, Kevin's a 240-pound guy.
Yeah.
That would probably, if he ever met the guy, would smack him silly.
Mm-hmm.
And I would smack him silly too, because to listen to the garbage and the I don't know what you call it, horse shit. How's that? I'm gonna curse. Horse shit. It was just complete, utter garbage. I can't even tell you how disgusted I was after listening to the show. And then I got CJ and Kevin on the show after the show, and we were laughing about it. After I got off the phone with them, I actually had to listen to the show again to really just get even more upset about what he was saying. Why would you go on another show? And then you were praising the New England Patriots. And then Kevin says, it wasn't all Tom Brady. It was also Bill Belichick. And he says, oh, so you're going to give Bill Belichick all the credit. Are you kidding me?
So can I do a reenactment kind of his voice?
Well, you know what?
Because I'd like to take a shot at it.
All right, go ahead. You do that because we're going to have CJ come on the show before we go to break.
So we all know that C.J. Mosley quit on the Jets last year. I mean, it sounds like an elitist politician that it's just awful.
Anyways, why don't we get CJ on the phone? CJ, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? First off, I want to say thank you for doing this little spot from last night's episode of Weapons Hot. And I really appreciate you guys giving your thoughts on what Mr. Gifford brought to the table last night.
Yes, the gift.
And as you know, Errol, it really took a lot for me to contain the language that I really wanted to bestow upon him. It took a lot for me to restrain myself, and I basically had it. Him actually insulting my co-host was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and that's where I finally had realized, after giving John multiple opportunities to bring some kind of substance, where he really just did not. He just said that the Jets had the worst linebacking group in football. We have nobody on defense. He defended Jamal Adams all night. He said that the Jets are a toxic organization, blase. And he really has such a myopic view of the team.
Love that word.
And exactly what the vision that Joe Douglas is trying to build here with the New York Jets. I mean, look, we know that the New York Jets have been a struggling franchise for a very long time. We have had some periods where we have had some modicum of success and respectability. However, because they have been few and far between, the rest of the NFL just continues to make fun of us because we're easy targets, because it's the Jets, okay? I made statements on my show last night where I said the New York Jets for a little while was the old age retirement home for the NFL, for players on the downslope of our career, on their career. Why? Because Woody Johnson and whoever the Jets GM at the moment was there with the checkbook to write whatever the number that the player wanted, and they came in and they loafed it, they collected their checks, and nobody on the waves was the wiser. But Jet fans continued to suffer because the team underperformed. The team did not live up to expectations. They fired off all this hype about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to build a new culture, and it was the same old Jets.
Right.
So now, for the first time going into this offseason, yes, the Jamal Adams saga, which now happily has ended, did kind of throw some cold water on a little bit of Joe Douglas's progress. But for John to say that Denzel Mims was trash and that Tyler Johnson, who's a fifth-round pick, was better, was a joke. I'm sorry. That was a joke. Okay. His statements about Avery Williamson, despite the fact that he's injured, Avery Williamson is still a green light for week one. He's come out and said, I will be there week one.
Right.
Okay. So he's ready to go. And as far as the Jets linebacking core, we probably have one of the deepest linebacking cores in the NFL, because he didn't want to acknowledge Terrell Basham. He didn't want to acknowledge Blake Cashman. Right. He didn't want to acknowledge Patrick Owanetsor, who we signed in the offseason. He didn't want to acknowledge, a lot of Neville Hewitt, Jordan Jenkins, and a lot of other players who, despite not having C.J. Mosley, the Jets linebacking core is probably one of many linebacking cores in the NFL that could still be considered respectable in NFL circles.
Absolutely.
Now,
you mentioned,
and as far as the defensive line is concerned, I know, Mark, you're trying to chime in for a second. I promise I'll make this point short. For him to discount Steve McClendon, Quinnen Williams, but Foley Fatukasi, who is just an absolute beast, Kyle Phillips, who came onto the scene, Nathan Shepard, Henry Anderson, draft picks that we brought in like Jabari Zuniga, for him to just dismiss it like it's just trash is just completely comical at best. And I actually question his fandom as a New York Jets fan, and how he could have the audacity to come on my show, let alone have a football podcast at all, where he proclaims himself to be a New York Jets fan, yet trash the organization the way he did on my show last night. Gentlemen, I really would like to hear what you think about what I've just laid before you.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I think Owanisor is a great pickup. I mean, he was a guy who replaced Mosley in Baltimore. There were all those sorts of guys that we've been able to pick up in this offseason, and just the job that they did last year, replacing guys and not really losing, being able to go 6-2 in the second half. But I want to know, CJ, what was this guy's credentials?
Really, to be honest with you, what kind of struck my eye about John was he had put out a couple of what I thought were controversial videos in regards to the New York Jets and the New York Jets organization, and I found them to be very fascinating, because initially I thought maybe he's just another negative fan who just has a podcast or has a vlog. Mm-hmm. And maybe he just needs to come on a show with two very respectable Jet fans who, between the two of us, are over 80 years of fandom. Okay, to kind of talk him off of the ledge, so to speak, to say, like, look, it's not all doom and gloom in the New York Jets organization. The arrow is in fact still pointing up. Yes, there is life after Jamal Adams, and even though C.J. Mosley opted out this year because of COVID-19. We still can have a dominant defense in the NFL. So there are things to look forward to on the horizon. So to me, that was kind of the intention of bringing him on. I was very curious to get his takes. And it just seemed like that he just decided to take that platform to just kind of thrust his initiative to the forefront. And nothing that Kevin and I said mattered.
Because he's a clown. That's what you see right now. If you see him right behind the nice green screen right behind us, I'm a Tom Brady boy toy, because that's what he is. He's a complete, utter clown. That's what he was. Every single thing that he said on your show yesterday was a joke. I couldn't stop laughing. It was a joke. He didn't say one good thing about the organization. And Joe Douglas, who had one of the best drafts this year, he took shots at every single draft pick that he made, including Beckham, who he says that we don't even know what Mekhi Becton is. Okay, so we don't know what any of these guys are because they haven't stepped on a football field. So it makes you know more than anybody else does. First of all, this kid, to me, I don't know how old this guy is. I don't know who he is or who he thinks he is. To me, I don't think anybody would actually be even respectable enough to watch his podcast or watch his YouTube subscribing or whatever the heck he does.
He actually has 76 subscribers, believe it or not, which 76. I was kind of shocked.
76? Are you sure it's not his family? Because it wouldn't be me. I'm not going to subscribe to him. I bet you it was his mom. His mom probably has like 6 or 7 different names to subscribe to his stupid YouTube. I would never sit and listen to that garbage. A matter of fact, after the show, I was looking for The Gift on YouTube. I couldn't find it. And you want to know something? I wouldn't even waste my time watching it and give him a view. Because to me, it was garbage. Everything that he said yesterday, I think he was trying to draw fans or trying to make people hate him so he could be the bad guy. But the truth is, when you praise Tom Brady on a Jets radio show, that is despicable. You cannot praise Tom Brady on a New York Jets show.
That.
You cannot do that.
You're not going to get an argument out of me with that. And just the fact that he kind of went after Kevin about saying that Sam Darnold does in fact have the potential to be just as good as Tom Brady, and he completely lost it and was like, how dare you mention Tom Brady and Sam Darnold in the same sentence? And then on top of it, he followed that idiocracy up by saying that, so you think that Bill Belichick is responsible for Tom Brady's success? Short answer, yeah, he is. Because Tom Brady, in any other offensive system that does not suit what he likes to do, is not the Tom Brady that we all know. Plus, on top of it, the Patriots had to cheat to win how many Super Bowls?
2.
So just a little bit of fodder to throw out there for people to digest, especially when they want to talk about Tom Brady being the best of all time. Yes, he may very well be. He may very well go down as the best quarterback that ever played the game.
He'll never win with Tampa.
Manning.
He will never win with Tampa. I'm telling you guys right now. You hear me now on this. They're not winning in Tampa. So anybody that thinks that Tom Brady with that team is going to win a Super Bowl, first of all, he's in the NFC. It's going to be harder for him to go to the Super Bowl. This isn't the AFC anymore when you only have to go through one or two teams to get to the Super Bowl. And you're not going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which you've done in New England year in and year out. I guarantee you It's going to be a lot harder for Tom Brady to go to the Super Bowl. I don't care how talented his offense is. We don't know what this team is going to do. And he doesn't have Bill Belichick. He doesn't have the same offense. He's running through Bruce Arians' offense. It's a completely different offense than Bill Belichick. Completely different. Mm-hmm. So anybody that thinks that this is going to be easy for Tom Brady in the NFC, good luck. I am telling you, good luck. It's not going to be that easy. And when the gift keeps saying that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, let's go back and let's just look at some of the quarterbacks that played when the game was completely different. If Joe Montana played in the time of football now, I guarantee you'd have Tom Brady numbers, okay? So I am so tired of listening to and I'm not saying Tom Brady isn't one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, because then that would be a lie, and then people would say, what are you talking about? Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But when you go on Weapons Hot, you go on a Jets radio show or a New York radio station, and you take a shot at your Jets, because you're a Jet fan, and then all of a sudden say, well, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, so nobody put Sam Darnold in the same discussion as Tom Brady. Well, then you have no reason or you shouldn't have any audacity to even talk sports on a radio station. I'm just completely appalled by every single thing that he said yesterday on your radio show. I was disgusted. I told you I was going to do something, and I hope he listens to this, and I'm going to have Speedy cut it out. I'm going to send it to him. I'm going to send it to him on his Facebook. I'm not his friend on Facebook. I'll send it to you so you can send it to him. He is a clown. And I
actually sent him a link to the show for tonight via Facebook Messenger.
Good.
So hopefully wherever he is, he will actually catch the
John, you're a clown.
Replay and stuff,
you're a clown. You don't belong. You don't deserve to be a Jet fan, okay? I'd rather you become a Patriot fan who, by the way, will never win a Super Bowl again, okay? They will never win a Super Bowl again, even with Cam Newton, who's one of my favorite players, okay? So you could say whatever you want about your great Tom Brady. Let's see what Tom Brady does in the NFC this year. Let's see what happens. And then we could talk. The greatest quarterback of all time. Give me a break. And Bill Belichick wasn't one of the reasons why he won all those Super Bowls? What are you smoking? The offensive line is not important for the quarterback? You must be smoking something. Whatever ganja you're smoking, please, wherever you're from, Florida, New Jersey, Spain, I don't care where you're from, bring it over here. I need some. Because whatever you're drinking or smoking, it's got to be something. I don't know. CJ, thank you for calling, man.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you guys. Much love.
Same here, my friend. CJ DeSimone, Weapons Hot. I had to do this. That kid, John, is a friggin' clown. A clown. And I had to do this. I want him to see this. I want him to know that every single Jet fan that actually listened to that garbage that came out of his mouth, the spew that came out of his mouth yesterday, everybody's going to see this. I'm going to take a picture of this with me in the front with Speedy, and we're going to post it all over social media just for you to dance around in your circus of crap. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to Boston College offensive lineman recruit Ilija Krajnovic. Is that right?
Krajnovic.
You're supposed to sound this out for me.
I wrote it for you. But
yeah, you sounded out
did
like...
Did you give him a phonetic spelling, though, at least?
I did.
Okay, well then... Yeah.
You could look at the notepad, Mark.
Ilija Krajnovic, here on Down to the Wire.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You're listening to Down to the Wire on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Six 965-4990. This is Down to the Wire. We are live every single Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time. Remember, go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app on the iOS, Apple, WWSRN, or go to Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well, we had a great interview with Isaac Pearson, the Longhorns recruit. Then we talked about a complete idiot, the gift, whatever we call him. I don't know if it's John Guilfork, whatever his name is. But we have our second guest of the show. I was very intrigued getting him on. We are now talking to Boston College offensive lineman Ilija Krajnovic. What's up, Ilija?
Hi, how are you doing?
We are good, my friend. How are you? How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
I'm doing really good. I'm here at IMG. We're getting ready for season. So, yeah, everything is good. My family is good back home. In this time, it's important to be healthy, to stay safe, and that's it.
What is it like being recruited by a Division I school like Boston College, a team that is known for their offensive linemen and their linebackers? What is it like being recruited and getting a full scholarship to go to one of the prestige Division I schools?
Being recruited by that school is a huge thing for me because I came to the United States in January. So after like 5 months, I got a full scholarship at a Division I school, and so Boston College is a great place, and I really think that I could go to NFL after that college. The thing I want to say is to thank the coach Matt Applebaum and the coach Halfley again if they're listening to this, because without them, without their like time talking with me and stuff, this wouldn't happen. So thank you again, coaches, if you're listening.
We are talking to Boston College offensive lineman Ilija Krajnovic.
Ilija, this turns out to be like International Day. So you were actually from Serbia. So not a big football country. They're Eastern European, big with hockey, big with soccer, basketball, stuff like that. So how did you get into football? What gave you the desire to play football? Was it something with your family? Was it something maybe with a friend of yours that maybe went to America, or did you learn it when you just came here?
So I was a professional volleyball player.
Wow.
Yeah, I played a middle blocker in a national team of Serbia, and I was very good at it. And also I played like a bunch of other sports like water polo, kickboxing, mixed martial arts, and other. Like literally every single sport, like basketball, even the soccer. I was a goalkeeper and played in defense. So I literally tried every single sport on this planet, and I started to play volleyball from young age. And exactly a year ago, now a year and a half, I started to play football back home in my country. And my older brother was playing defensive end, so he told me like, hey, we need some big guys to come here to play D-line. And I was like, okay, I don't know what it is. But by the nature, I'm a very aggressive and very anxious person. So he thought that this sport will be good with me. And he just said, like, in this sport, you can beat up people legally. So that was instant, like, turn on for me. And I was okay, like, fuck it, let's go. Yeah. So I abandoned volleyball in many reasons. But yeah, I started playing football because like I was very. The main thing was why I started to play football is like I can beat up people, and that's the thing.
So, Ilija, you're pretty much telling us you're a mean offensive lineman, because I've watched a lot of football, and there are a lot of soft offensive linemen in the NFL especially, and that's a huge problem. We've seen a lot of teams, the great offensive lines what we've seen over the years, especially in college and even in the NFL, they've had at least one or two mean players. Would you consider yourself a mean player or a laid-back player?
I consider myself as an offensive lineman with the mind of a D lineman. And a very dirty D lineman, because I play D line. I play in first of all, I played in a senior league. That was my first game ever of football. So I play like guys against they were 30, 40 years old, and when you fight with those people, it's very it's you need to have balls. So yeah, and then when I went to another club, to another team, they put me in the offensive line, and I was like, I was not satisfied because like I wanted to play D line, but at the same time they put me like in a O line and D line, just because of that reason, because I was too aggressive and I was nonstop getting penalties and stuff, So yeah.
So, Ilija, what is it like for you to come from Serbia and be in the Boston area? Is everything you thought it was when you were watching movies growing up?
No. Well, from Serbia is a very small country, first of all, and a lot of people dream about coming to the States. There's a huge number of players that play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That are Serbian, like Bogdanovic, Jokic, and so on. But like we never had that potential in like American football. We call it American football. You call it here football. So yeah, they told me like I had a huge potential, but and they were telling me like, hey, you can end up in the States, playing professionally, but I didn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it happened, and I'm like, I'm really like satisfied, but I'm keep pushing on till the pros.
So what's one of your favorite things about being in the area? Do you go downtown? Do you go what sites do you like to go see?
Here in Florida.
Oh.
He's in Florida right now. Yes,
okay.
He's in Florida right now, but I'm sure he's going to have the opportunity to sightsee, get to see some of the food and some of the restaurants over there right in the town, right in the city part. It's it's very clean city. I'm not a huge Boston fan because obviously we're out here in New York, so I don't like Boston sports, but I have to say the town and the people over there are amazing. The food is great. It's not something that it's not New York food, but it's right there. They have so many good Italian restaurants over there, seafood restaurants over there. So it's definitely something that you'll absolutely like. If you like to eat, Ilija, you're going to love Boston. I know you like to eat.
I'm 375 pounds.
375 pounds? How tall are you?
No, 325.
25. How tall are you?
I'm 6'8".
6'8". Wow, you're a beast, man. No wonder why you played volleyball. As you guys know, we are talking to Boston College offensive lineman recruit Ilija Krajnovic. Now, Ilija, we've watched the NFL grow and all over the world, and a lot of people are trying to consider, or the NFL is trying to consider bringing an NFL team from overseas, England, Australia, Germany. They're slowly but surely trying to grow the sport in different countries. Do you think that you'll see an NFL team being built in another country besides here in the United States?
Yeah. First of all, I'm coming from Europe. So in Europe, the German football is the best. So the Germany, like a country, they're like the best country like for football. They have very, very good leagues. They're very, very good players, and a lot of players from Serbia goes in German leagues to play there. I heard about the things that guys from England, from Germany, French are coming to States. And that's a good thing, and I really believe that the NFL is going to expand to Europe. I truly believe.
So just to follow up on that question, what time frame do you think that kind of thing can happen in? Will it be something that happens in 5 years, 10 years, much further down the line? Because we've seen exhibition games already in London for the past 13 years. So when do you think it will happen when it does?
Oh, ma'am. It's hard to tell, but I'm thinking about like 10 years, because slowly now the Europe is starting to get like it's starting to be like a main recruiting. There's a lot of kids from Europe are coming to States to play college football, and there's like a lot of scouts in Europe. That are helping those kids, go to the college. So I believe like in approximately 10 years that will happen.
As you guys know, we are talking to Boston College offensive lineman recruit Ilija Krajnovic.
So I know Vlade Divac is a guy that came from Serbia, had some success with the Lakers. He had success, well, not as much success as a GM with the Kings. He actually just resigned the other day. How much who was your favorite player growing up? Someone like Vlade, the fact that he came here and he did that and he was a success, how much did that inspire you?
So that's the question that I get a lot. The thing is with me, I'm that kind of person. I play sports, but I don't follow it. That's the thing with me. They ask hey, did you watch the games I don't know, Ravens against the New England Patriots or NBA games or whatever games. I'm that kind of person who don't like to watch the games. I just like to play, and I'm just that kind of person. I'm really not interested in sitting on the couch and watching the game. Of course, I will watch it if it's a national team, if it's very interesting. But I'm really not that kind of a person who has motivation.
I get you.
For that kind of stuff.
So how did you learn American football? Was it something that came naturally, or was it something that you never could see yourself doing, but you just picked it up?
So when I came to first practice in my hometown, they told me okay, we'll find you a helmet, we'll find you a pad, and they found me okay. Okay, everything's good. So come on the field, you see that guy, bull rushing.
That's funny.
I was like, okay, and I did it full speed. I started, to go after him. Of course, I put him on the butt because I went with my head, I just kick him, and and they told me okay, you're strong, you have really huge potential, but you need to learn the game. So I slowly started to learn the game, and I learned it when I was back home. So when I came here, of course, this is a professional place, the best place in the United States, the best high school in the States. So here my coaches helped me to learn more game, and now I'm playing. So yeah.
You're a big man, and we just saw somebody get drafted, 6'8", 364 pounds for the New York Jets, runs a 40 in 5 seconds, almost flat. Did you ever run the 40 yet? Have you run the 40 yet?
Yeah, I ran 40. I ran 40 while I was home. So,
what you running in?
I'm running at 493.
Wow.
Nice.
6'8", 315 pounds, right? 315 pounds? 325 pounds, and he runs it at a 4.98, 4.93, whatever.
Yeah,
that's still better than Beckham. But anyways, before we ask you our silly questions, when you see yourself as a college player, and if there is a season, hopefully there is a season. And I know a lot of college players, they predict themselves or they want to be in the NFL because they want to support their families, they want to take care of their families for their futures. Did you, before you decided to go and play college football, did you always think that you had the athletic ability to play professional sports?
Yeah. First of all, I thought the volleyball was my sport, and I'm going to go to play it professionally. But then a lot of things happen with my club, and the volleyball is my club where I was playing. The other clubs had a better connections, you can say, so a lot of good players were going into better clubs, and also the guys who weren't as good as me or somebody else went because they have connections in other clubs and stuff. Dad turns a number call, hey, my son wants to come and play, and it's just like that. They didn't really search for a talent. They just did everything with the connections. So that is the thing where I was fuck volleyball, I'm just going somewhere else. Yeah, well, but it's just like that, so I was really thinking about really being professional volleyball. And then when I started to play football, I was like, okay, They're telling me I'm going to go like to states and stuff, but I didn't believe them until now. Until now. Like year after they said it, I'm here at States, committed to Division One school, and I'm like, happiest man on earth.
All right, so you played both football and volleyball. So I want the craziest from both sports: the craziest football game you ever played in, and the craziest volleyball game, or even just an individual set that you ever played in.
Craziest game. Oh shit. It was so the football game. It was a U19. So it was we played against the Belgrade Wolves. It's a one club from the capital city of Serbia. So we played against them, and they were like known to be very dirty and very. They were like the best, but like they were very dirty, and of course judges were from Belgrade also, so judges were on their side. We lost that game, of course, we scored 6 touchdowns, and they like denied it 6 touchdowns because of like the penalties and stuff, so we lost that game. We knew that we were going to lose it, but at the end of the game, like 10 minutes before ending the game, our coach huddled us up and said, like, guys, you know what is the situation now, because they're dirty, you go and like literally kill them, like literally kill every single one of them. That means like go full, if I was offensive lineman, I was right tackle. So the defensive end comes, I will grab him by the pad and starts hitting the helmet on his. Two guys were unconscious after that. Yeah, we literally like wanted to hurt them. So that was the craziest thing that happened in the football. And in the volleyball, craziest thing. When we won the championship, national championship, because it was really tough game. It was we of course won by 3-2, and they first led by the 2-0, and we was like, okay, it's over. And then like slowly the team chemistry started to raise up, and I was like, okay, let's do this, let's fuck them up. So
as you guys know, we are talking to Boston College offensive lineman recruit Ilija Krajnovic. Now, Ilija, we do this every one of our shows. We're going to ask you some silly questions. We want some silly answers. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Question number 1, boxers or briefs, and why?
Boxers.
Boxers? A big guy like you, I think I know why you want rather boxers, but why boxers?
Because they're comfortable, and there's a lot of space for what.
Favorite snack to snack on before a game?
I'll say a Gatorade bar or a Cliff bar.
What's up with these Gatorade bars? And Gatorade, like, these what do they call them?
You're interviewing Gatorade chews,
Gatorade chews, Gatorade bars.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're interviewing younger athletes. That's where they started advertising it, I guess.
It's crazy because when I was a kid, they didn't have Gatorade chews. I mean, they had Gatorade, but it wasn't even popular when I was young. It was Powerade.
I think it only came out like 5 or 6 years ago.
What, Gatorade?
Gatorade chews and bars and stuff like that.
I'm talking about Gatorade. Gatorade's been around for years, but when I was a kid and when I was in high school, it was more Powerade than Gatorade. Now the triglycerides are so high, people rather go to Gatorade because of the electrolytes. So that's interesting. Okay.
I would say maybe more a Cliff bar because I'm a more Cliff bar fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gatorade is also a good snack.
All right. Blondes or brunettes, and why?
Both.
Both? You got to give me one.
That's the tricky part of the question.
Both. Which one would you prefer, blondes or brunettes? It doesn't. Obviously, you like both, but
it's a tough question.
It's a tough question, huh?
Shit. Let's go with the blondes.
All right, blondes. You're a blonde. They're blonde. Let's go with the blondes. All right. If there was before a game, if there was a track that you would listen to pump you up or pump your team up, what track would that be and why? Rammstein du Hast, right?
No. I was thinking about this like for a long time. Oh shit. I would say like the song that pumps me the most is like
Carrie Underwood. Just kidding.
It's from Lil Pump and I don't know who else. So Welcome to the Party.
Okay.
It has that like fast style, and it's so fast, and it was like it's very aggressive. I found it very aggressive, so it would be like just put your helmet on, smash it a couple of times, and like let fuck this shit up,
There was a fan, John Suggs, asks a question: do you train differently overseas compared to the States? And do you do something overseas that the States should start doing? So he's saying, do you train the same way as the States? And is it something that the States should start doing if you do something differently overseas?
There's a fucking huge difference between training at States and training at here and training overseas. I'm thinking like here is the better, because they were professionals, and there's the people who know, who played in the league, who know what are they doing. And in Europe, you can also find good coaches, but they're not like professionals. They don't have that experience. So I would say the best thing is training here, to practice here. And what was the other question?
No. And do you think he says, do you train differently overseas compared to the States? And then he says, is it something, if it is overseas, is it something that the States should learn and do and copycat?
States are states. It's just like that, here, like every single coach is professional, is trained like professional. So, states are states. You can't compare that.
So, Ilija, before we let you go, why don't you tell the fans how they can find you on social media, my friend?
I'm really bad at spelling.
So is Errol. Don't worry.
I'm bad. I'm really bad. So I'm just as bad as you, Ilija.
I'm bad at spelling, but I will show you on the camera.
What is that? Speedy, what does it say over there?
I can't even see it.
I can't see
There's
it.
too much glare, Ilija.
There's too much glare over there.
All right.
Okay.
I caught a glimpse of it. I couldn't tell what it was though.
KRAJNOVICC_.
Got it. But
it's my last name. Mm-hmm. All small letters and then the underscore.
Well, I will say this, Ilija. If there is a season, I'm looking forward to watching you. A 6'8", 325-pound athlete that is a volleyball national champion. It's pretty amazing, the story behind who you are as an athlete and really where you believe you're going to go in the future. I would love to see you play in the NFL, play for the Jets, because putting you on the other side of Mekhi Becton, I would say the Jets have the biggest line in NFL history. 2 6'8" guys.
Also, if you want to like read something more about me, the Bleacher Report made an article about me, like a full story. So you can go on a Bleacher Report and read about me.
Well, I would love to read about you. I've read a little bit about you, and I would love to get you back on the show. Would you be interested in coming back on the show in the near future?
Of course.
Absolutely. And I want to see you grow, man. And if you do get drafted, you're going to invite us to your party, right? Of course, man. I mean, you're a giant to me. I'm probably up to your waist or something. I mean, 6'8", 325 pounds. I mean, you could probably palm me or something. I'm not a small guy, but you're pretty damn big, man. But I would love to get to know you moving forward as a college football player. And I do believe that with your size and your ability, your athletic ability, I believe anything is possible. And I do believe you will play in the NFL.
Yeah, I believe too. especially to help my family, and to like simply play in the pros and live my life how I want to till the rest of my life to live however I want.
You're a baby, man. Good luck, and we're going to stay in touch with you, and we're definitely going to get you back on. And I don't know if you dance, but we're having some kind of TikTok dance-off. I would – come on, man. We need to get you involved with this. No?
To me, honestly, I don't know if I can say this, but to me, TikTok is for pussies.
Well, it's not TikTok. We're just going to take a video, and we're going to have you dance to it, and we're going to have people vote.
I'm not a good dancer.
Well, a lot of people aren't good dancers, but you could be funny, Ilija, thank you, my friend.
No problem. Thank you for reminding me.
Absolutely. Ilija Krajnovic, the Boston College offensive lineman recruit. Kid's a very, very nice kid. Up and coming. I think the kid's going to be a star. I really do. He's big. He's strong.
And he can run fast for his size already. That's
4'9", 4'9'3", or something like that. It's pretty incredible. It's incredible, the athletic ability some of these kids have. I mean, it's remarkable.
Especially somebody growing up internationally, too. So sometimes you don't get that head start training-wise that other football players get. I know he played volleyball, too, but it's a different type of training. There's not as much strength training for volleyball. It's more technique training and stuff like that and jumping.
It's remarkable how big that guy is and how fast he can run. It is. But he's a volleyball national champion. I didn't even know that. So there you go. Anyways, Mark, we call this segment Mark It Up.
This is Mark It Up.
All right, Mark.
So how many of you guys have watched, obviously, the hockey playoffs? What has surprised you about some of the series? I mean, before you guys chime in, let me tell you what has kind of surprised me. I think most of us thought that Vancouver would not be as tough as they've been. They've really given St. Louis a run for the money. Quinn Hughes, who's a rookie defenseman, has been outstanding. He tied
third-year defenseman, but he's a rookie defenseman.
Well, he's 20 years old.
Yeah. He's rookie eligible this year.
Yeah, right. So it set 8 points in the first 6 games to tie Ray Bork's record for most for a guy his age. And they pretty much dominated St. Louis first couple of games. Horvat has had an incredible postseason. Then you look at the way that the Islanders have, they're playing like they did at the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year, they went on a run where they were undefeated for 17 straight games, and you could see people who had known the Islanders and Capitals, kind of seen them the last couple of years, especially in 2015. The Islanders weren't ready yet. You've seen how much they've learned and grown up, especially under Trotz. A lot of these guys just implement what he's teaching them, and when you have Beauvillier stepping out, he has 7 points already. A bunch of guys have 5 or more points, which is something they weren't doing during the regular season. You look how they've dominated in even strength play. They've outscored the Capitals 10-2 in even strength play so far this series, which is a huge part of why they're winning. I mean, they're 5 for 30-something on the power play, one of the worst power plays in the league, but they never really were a good power play team. So you see how they're deep 4 lines, and they're getting great goaltending of all of them off. So I think that's been a little bit of a surprise. I thought the Islanders would have some success, but I didn't think they would be as good as they've been, and especially against the Capitals. It's not like they've manhandled them, but when the Capitals came out for Game 2, it looked like they were ready to get back into that series.
They have manhandled the Capitals. I don't know what you're watching.
Well,
they've completely dominated this series. It's not even been... The fact that it went into overtime yesterday, they weren't even the better team. In the second half of the game, in the second half of the second period, all the way through the third, they were the better team.
But Game 2, when the Capitals came out, it looked like they were trying to make a statement. The Islanders stood right up to them, and they didn't back down. And then, by the time the game got into the third period, they were able to put the game away. And that's something they always kind of struggled doing in the last couple of years. So it's nice to see them be able to do that. Vegas, I think, has played really well. Chicago got a game the other day.
They're going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Vegas is going.
I think Colorado struggled a little bit. They lost Game 3 against Phoenix. But
they didn't struggle badly, though. They still put a ton of shots on goal on Kemper. Kemper was insane.
But, I mean, I thought they would go right through them. I mean, Colorado's just, to me, I thought they were the best team in the West. And St. Louis has struggled a little bit, but I think St. Louis will still come back and win the series. And I think that when you look at some of the other teams in the East, we saw that 5 overtime game between Tampa Bay and Columbus, and we both said, hey, who wins this game? This is going to set the series.
Of course.
And it really kind of has. Even though Columbus came back and won game 2, Tampa's kind of showing how much they've wanted to get back at them and learned a little bit from their loss last year. I still think they're too small to come out of the East, especially when they face up against Boston or even the Islanders. I think the Islanders could give them a little bit of problems with their size, and the Islanders are playing very, very physical.
They've been the most physical team out of any of these NHL teams.
Yeah,
the Islanders. And if they continue playing this way, they're going to be a hard out against anybody they play. And they're going to be Washington. There's no way Washington's coming back from a 3-0 deficit. There's no way. If they don't win tomorrow, they'll win the next game after that. But the Islanders are the better team. And to me, what the Islanders have done is they've set themselves up in a very good position, because if Philadelphia gets out of their series, they'd be playing Philadelphia in the next round, which they match up very, very well against.
They do.
So,
it works much better than Boston or Carolina.
Yep.
So, and I think that there are a couple of things that happen here. I usually post the top 5 notes or something, usually every morning on our website or at Sports Radio. Pavelski had a hat trick the other day, yesterday. Only the 4th Dallas Star, Minnesota North Star to do it. The last time somebody did was 1989. Carter Hart became the youngest Flyer goaltender to post a shutout, breaking Pete Peters' record. And Braden Shen with his overtime goal, his first game-winning goal in his playoff career in his 55th game. So this guy's an experienced veteran. So it's nice to see some of these guys achieve some of those things when they've played for so long. Now, looking at baseball, this is what really confuses me. Okay, you look at some of these leaders in baseball. Anthony Santander, tied for the league lead in RBIs with 22. Charlie Blackmon, up to a couple weeks ago, was threatening to bat 500. I mean, he was just absolutely on fire. Donovan Solano. You ever hear of Donovan Solano?
Yeah.
He was an old journeyman with the Marlins last time I saw him.
But we knew this was going to happen in a 60-game season. We knew this was going to happen.
He's on the Giants, and he's been an absolute revelation. Mike Yastrzemski's had a very good year. The grandson of Carl Yastrzemski. The Giants have struggled, but Yastrzemski is kind of proving that he's a legit player. Trevor Story leads the league in runs scored. Fernando Tatis, people didn't know if he was ready yet. This guy has been on fire for San Diego. San Diego, I think people were wondering if they were too young, and they've played pretty well.
I was worried about them, too, with a new manager.
And I think the most disappointing team, obviously, if we have to go to that right now, I would say would probably be the Mets. They would be right up there. I don't think Boston is really disappointing, because if you looked at their pitching when the season started, they had absolutely no pitching. And you see that they gave up 8 straight runs for 7 straight games, 8 runs or more for 7 straight games, one shy of a major league record. So even if you saw the Mets, they were one of the team. The Mets just
Brody
around in
fired
Boston.
after the season.
I think that if they keep going what they're doing, I think he should be, because the trades he has made have not worked, and he's kind of put them on a backtrack now. I mean, it's not his fault.
Amazing. It's amazing when you look at what Brody has done, and then you look at the Yankees. With all the injuries the Yankees have right now, they're still winning.
Guys. Yeah, and they just replace guys. They got 5 more guys ready for the guys that are there.
They're 15-6, and they lost Aaron Judge and DJ LeMahieu for a significant amount of time.
And already had lost Stanton, too.
Yeah, and they lost Stanton for how many? Probably for the next couple more weeks.
Yeah.
And they're still winning. They're still winning.
Now, here's the thing. You can't blame him for Stroman or Cespedes opting out. But I think we see how much they miss Blake Wheeler. I mean, this was
Zach
a guy,
Wheeler.
Zach Wheeler, Blake Wheeler. I do the same thing with one of the pitchers.
I mess names up,
too,
so it's nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. So, but Zach Wheeler, when they got him for Beltran, this was a guy that was supposed to lead their rotation with Harvey and Matz. And we've seen Matz just absolutely implode again. I mean, the thing about Matz that people wonder about is, does he have the mental strength to get through the games? And when 1 or 2 things go wrong, you can see he kind of gets pissed off, throws the ball into his mitt, and then he's just absolutely out in left field. And they needed him to step up and be the legit second starter, especially with Syndergaard out. I mean, you look at. I remember a couple years ago when Gesellman and Lugo pitched well in 2016. You had like 7 guys the Mets were going to, could have gone to be like pretty good starters. When you had Harvey and you had DeGrom and you had Matz and then Syndergaard and Wheeler, like, wow, they're going to have an unbelievable rotation. And then they still got Gesellman and Lugo, which got them to the postseason in 2016. So if they really want to get back in this, and they could, depending on they play
still
Florida
early.
like 8 times,
The Mets could still come back.
So I mean,
their bullpen has been terrible.
Well, their bullpen is like overworked. Their starters have been terrible.
Both of them have been terrible. And by the way, they're not hitting the ball.
And they haven't hit. Yeah, Rosario's been absolutely abysmal. Obviously Alonso struggled, but most people expected he would take a step back.
Did anybody think Alonso was going to have the season he had last year?
No. People, I think
the
most
balls
people
aren't juiced anymore, buddy.
Most people thought he would have a step back, and Alonso I think will be okay.
Rosario, he's a 30 and 100 guy.
Rosario concerns me. Jimenez has been very good.
Very good.
The rookie that they brought up,
the guy that he was going to trade. There were stories coming out that they were going to try to trade him.
Traded everyone else. You trade Jared Kalenic.
Look how good he is.
I mean, please, that's going to be a trade the Mets will regret for a long time. Okay, but also David Pearson has been pretty good. He's been the second best starter.
That's been the one bright spot this year.
Yeah. So there is that, but if these guys continue to implode, I mean, they have one of the worst records in the National League. I think only the Pirates are worse than them. Yeah. So if that continues to go away, we Met fans thought that there was going to be at worst a wild card. Now that they expand, 8 teams make the playoffs.
16 teams.
Yeah. So I mean, if you don't make the playoffs now, you shouldn't be allowed to play next year. I mean, that's how bad it is. Okay.
What is this, the Premier League?
Yeah, really. You get to drop down a bit. They'll have to go. I remember they used to be in Tidewater or Buffalo or Las Vegas. They can go play there. But I think Cespedes opting out was one thing I think that annoyed people.
I wasn't surprised he was doing that.
But I think it annoyed people because Cespedes had a lot to prove, and then
he ran from the Mets just like Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, and Stroman too. It's one thing to not want to play. It's another thing to say you will and then back out, and it put them in a bad spot.
He didn't want to play for the Mets. Everybody knows that. He wanted to be a Yankee. I've said this over and over again. He never wanted to play for the New York Mets organization. He went over there because Brody Van Wagenen made a pretty good trade, actually. It made sense at the time, and it really backfired at the New York Mets. It really has.
And how about Donovan Mitchell scoring 57 points today for the Jazz in their win? You know what the NBA scoring record is for most points in a playoff game?
What's that?
Michael Jordan, when he scored 63 at the Boston Garden in a game they lost. And that always surprised me that Chamberlain or Kobe or somebody didn't score more over the course of time.
I was surprised Donovan Mitchell hasn't been traded yet because there were stories coming out that him and Rudy Gobert do not get along, and the coach over there with the Jazz.
COVID.
Yeah, well, I don't know. And the coach over there, who's the Jazz coach right now?
Quinn Snyder.
Quinn Snyder, the Missouri guy.
Yeah, Quentin Snyder and him don't get along either. So there were stories coming out that one of the teams that he would have liked to go to is the New York Knicks. And there were stories coming out from the Knicks organization, but what do the Knicks have to give up for Donovan Mitchell was a star?
Yeah.
He's a superstar player. So
I remember Quinn Snyder back at Duke. Dookie. He's got the little wavy hair going on. You remember that? Yeah.
I do remember that the Knicks could have drafted Donovan Mitchell, and that was one of the guys that they wanted, and they passed up on him.
Yeah, they could have drafted Steph Curry, too.
No. Steph Curry was drafted before they were going to draft, yes.
It was Minnesota who had 2 picks in a row that could have drafted Steph Curry.
They drafted Hill after Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Steph Curry went 8, Hill went at 9. The Knicks were drafting at 9. The Knicks were going to draft Steph Curry. That's the story. They tried to move up to get Steph, and Golden State made sure that there was no way in hell the Knicks were going to be able to move up to get him. And he fell to the Golden State Warriors, and you see where the Golden State Warriors are and where the Knicks are right now.
You know what's funny is that Mark Jackson gets very little credit for the fact that he was there for that first year, and then it kind of built a little bit of that system. And Jackson, why haven't the Knicks taken a look at him?
Mark Jackson?
Yeah.
Mark Jackson hasn't been a coach in about 7 years. Yeah, I don't want to put somebody that hasn't been there, just like Jeff Van Gundy. I want to put in a guy.
Gundy. I love Gundy.
Jeff Van Gundy, too. I mean, I wanted Tom Thibodeau. They got Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, he's not bad. Yeah, I mean, Thibodeau.
He was the best coach available.
Yeah, he's certainly
I don't care what anybody says about Kenny Atkinson and what he's done with the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
He was there for 2 years. I'm so sick and tired of it. Well, he knows how to work young players. How do we know? Tom Thibodeau he helped build that Bulls team to be an Eastern Conference into the Eastern Conference championship a couple of years. He also helped grow Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah and all the different players that they had over the years. So to tell me that Tom Thibodeau doesn't know how to build a young team and help a young team grow is crazy. But he was the best coach available, and they got the best coach.
I thought that was a pretty good pick.
Yeah, it was
but
the best
definitely a
coach
better
available.
decision they made than Hornacek and some of the other guys.
Absolutely.
That's not very much.
The only other guy to score 60 in a playoff game, by the way, was Elgin Baylor. He did that
I remember. Yes,
you remember that, right?
Yes,
I remember
yes.
that too.
Yes.
Was
And people forget how good Elgin Baylor was.
Was that when he was still with the Minneapolis Lakers, or was that the LA?
Yeah, I believe it was LA.
I think it was Minneapolis. Nevertheless, who cares?
They won titles both places.
Who cares? Elgin Baylor was one of the top 10, to me, one of the top 10 best players of all time. Everybody keeps putting Kobe Bryant there, but you forget about some of the greatest players of all time. Oscar Robertson, Bill Russell, Jerry West. I mean, people forget. Walt Clyde Frazier. Could you imagine Walt Frazier in the game, the NBA game right now? The NBA game, the way he played the game.
He was a great defender. One of the best ever.
Oh, man. The game is completely different. So for anybody to put all these guys, you have to look at the big picture here. But the NBA playoffs has just started. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen here. I do believe the two LA teams will make it to the Western Conference Championship. And I do think the Celtics and Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference.
So who's going to the finals?
The Celtics.
Celtics going to the finals, and what about in the West?
I'm going to take the Clippers. Clippers win in 7.
What do you got, Speedy?
I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to say it's not going to be an LA team. I'm going to take the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, I think the Rockets make it out of the West just to choose differently. Okay, and I think
Rockets.
The Rockets.
Hey,
they might not even get out in the first round.
Hey, just throwing it out there, and I think the Bucks will win in the East.
And who do you think wins the championship?
I think the Bucks. I think Giannis' time has come. I think he's the most dominant player.
They don't have any second-tier offensive players in a half-court game. I'm sorry, and I'm not going to trust Middleton to do the things that everybody thinks he's going to do in a big game. I'm not going to bet on that. I'm going to bet on the LA Clippers versus the Celtics. I think the Celtics have enough depth if they can stay healthy. The coach, Brad Stevens, is one of the most underrated coaches in the NBA. Nobody realizes how good of a coach he is. And he preaches defense. Both teams are very good defensive-minded teams. But I think the Clippers, with the greatness in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and some of the perimeter defenders that they have, that they could stop especially the Celtics on the perimeter, I think the Clippers are the best team.
Well, Giannis is better at 2K. I think NBA 2K than he is. But so, real quick, thoughts on Damian Lillard?
He's one of the best players in the league.
One of the best point guards, if not the best point guard in the league.
I loved when he did
now
that.
Finally,
when
people are giving him attention for the first time in his career because he never gets it, ever, and nobody knows why.
Damian Lillard is a special player. And
absolutely.
To me, he's the best. To me, all around, he's the best point guard in the NBA.
I love the Clipper guys and him going back and forth on the sideline. That's going to be a fun series if they play each other. So,
well, they will play, but they will not beat the Clippers. It will be a good series, but they will not beat the Clippers.
Well, they got to beat the Lakers first.
They got to beat the Lakers first.
Yeah,
and I think they could beat the Lakers.
They can, yeah.
I think they could beat the Lakers. I think the Lakers have a lot of weaknesses on their team.
Do you think they just were bored being back there? I mean, it didn't seem like they played real hard. I mean, they just basically were going through the motion of that. I don't really think they had to.
It's cockiness with LeBron James. LeBron is a cocky player. He believes that he can do anything, so we'll see.
Well, he's got other things on his mind now.
Yeah, well, he does. Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. Mark it up. We will be back tomorrow. Mark, you're more than welcome to come back tomorrow.
Thank you, brother.
As you guys know, you can call us at 631-965-4990. Remember, you go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app, ladies and gentlemen. iOS, WWSRN, Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Shout out to our two guests, Isaac Pearson, the Texas football punter recruit.
And Jelly Bean enthusiast.
Yes, and Jelly Bean enthusiast. And Boston College offensive lineman recruit, Ilija Krajnovic, for joining us. Great show, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Up next, the Wise Guys here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.